this time, please have a change of heart. Sell to people. Please sell to them. Sell to them. The Deputy Speaker of the Oyo State House of Assembly, Honorable Ibr92.5FM, ought to be with me. But one of the challenges of the nation at this time will prevent him from making it down to the studio. He has appealed that we reschedule this particular session. He may call in any moment from now, maybe to narrate his own ordeal too. So someone would say the rich also cry. But of course, we'll go ahead. There are so many things to talk about. What we had wanted to do on the first segment of the program is to talk about the laws that the Oyo State House of Assembly has made since the inception of the 9th Oyo State Assembly. How has it impacted on the people? Of what impact has it been? I'm aware that within the first 12 months, the first 1 year of that assembly, over 90 bills, I'm not talking of motion, were passed. So we have laws. How come there is this disorderliness? How come things are what they are? These are many more we had wanted to look at, but of course we won't carry it over. We will rather postpone it. And so the Deputy Speaker has appealed. He's far away in Lagos State. He's head back for one reason or the other, but of course he would be making it to the studio maybe next week, Saturday, maybe not, maybe the following Saturday after next. Okay, we will, so that we can talk about this particular issue. It is good to make laws. What are the impediments? Which of these laws can we say are prominent? How are they impacting the lives of the people? But we'll be talking about the economy very shortly on the first segment of the program this morning. The chairman of the Trade Union Congress will be joining me on the program. Of course, we need to look at that. But you really need to know the provision or some of the major provisions of the 2022 amended Electoral Act. So President Muhammadu Buhari has signed this bill into law. Once again, congratulations to all Nigerians. But you really need to know, one of the problems that we have is the fact that many of us don't care to set through these laws. What is the difference between this one and the one we had last time? The only thing some persons know about it is the fact that the new one makes provision for the electronic transmission of results. But of course, it goes beyond that. So let me quickly give you some of the major highlights of the new Electoral Act. And of course, we will listen to Mr. President very quickly, and we will look at the state of the economy. Now, this session, the interview session, the first interview session, will interest everyone, especially the workers, because TUC for some time has said it may have no option than to ask workers to sit back at home. When workers don't go to work, the level of productivity drops, though some persons will query, okay, the effectiveness of the workers. But maybe that's a debate for another day. Now, let's talk about the new Electoral Act. Clause 3, paragraph 3 of the bill provides that all funding required for a general election is released not later than 1 year before the general elections. This obviously will help the electoral body to prepare well in advance. You got it? So it means that by now the federal government should be looking, if truly the general election we hold at about this time next year, it means that by now INEC should have the fund needed to prosecute that election. One thing I cannot tell you is whether it's going to be part payment or INEC would get all it requires to prosecute the 2023 general election at once. But clause 3 in paragraph 3 of the new electoral act that President Muhammadu Buhari signed into law yesterday provides that all funding required for a general election is released not later than 1 year before the general elections. I'm aware that following what happened yesterday, I mean the signing of the electoral bill into law by the president, INEC will be holding an emergency meeting today, maybe to release, to rework the modalities and guidelines. Maybe a new date will be released today. That is that about that. Now, according to clause 50 of the electoral bill, which has become a law, INEC has the authority to decide whether election results are sent electronically or manually. So there is an option for INEC. It is either it transmits election results electronically or manually. So the law does not mandate INEC to only transmit election results electronically. It can also transmit it manually. I hope you're following the conversation. Clause 65 talks about the right to review election results declared under duress. You remember what happened in Imo State in 2019. So clause 65 of the Electoral Act empowers INEC authority to evaluate declarations and returns made under dubious circumstances. The measure will radically alter the result management process, discouraging politicians from pressuring election workers to declare manufactured election results that can only be disputed in court. So if on the field a politician mounts pressure on an INEC staff such that result is declared under duress, if it is established, INEC management can take a decision. Clause 47 of the Electoral Act allows voters to be electronically accredited using smart card readers or any other technical equipment determined by INEC. And of course, you know that INEC has introduced beavers, whether it's working or not. But of course, INEC has promised to improve on its last outing. Clause 54.2 stipulates INEC is required to ensure that persons with disabilities, special needs, and vulnerable people are assisted at polling places by providing appropriate means of communication such as braille, large embossed print, electronic devices, sign language interpretation, or in appropriate cases of sight voting. Overvoting has been redefined according to the new Electoral Act. Overvoting happens when the total number of accredited voters in a polling unit exceeds the number of votes cast in that polling unit. Clause 51 stipulates that the total number of accredited voters will become a deciding factor in the election's legality. That's another provision. Early conduct of party primaries and submission of candidates list. Clause 29(1) of the 2022 Electoral Act says each political party must submit its list of candidates to INEC who must have arisen from lawful primaries held by the political party not later than 180 days, that is 6 months before election day. According to clause 94 of the electoral bill, political parties' public campaigns have been extended from 90 to 150 days before polling day and will finish 24 hours before that day. So the number of days that political parties have for their campaign has been expanded from 90 days. So political parties will now have 150 days before the polling date. And of course, we can go on and on. That particular act also makes provision for substitution of candidate in the event of death in an election. You recall what happened in Kogi State. Now let's listen to President Muhammadu Buhari. He said this shortly after he signed the 2022 Electoral Act Amendment Bill into law.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2022, passed by the National Assembly, forwarded for Presidential Assembly a letter dated 31st January 2022. In line with established tradition, I received inputs from relevant ministries, departments, and agencies of government after careful and thorough reviews of the bill and its implications to democratic processes in our country. It is gratifying to note that the current bill comes with a great deal of improvement from the previous electoral bill 2021. There are salient and praiseworthy provisions that could positively revolutionize elections in Nigeria through the introduction of new technological innovations. These innovations would guarantee the constitutional rights of citizens to vote and to do so effectively. The bill will also improve and engender clarity, effectiveness, transparency of the election processes, as well as reduce the barriers to the barest minimum incidence of acrimony arising from the satisfied candidates and political parties. These commendable efforts are in line with our policy to bequeath austerity as reduce the barest legal framework that paves the way of acrimony, credible, arising sound electoral processes that we will all be.
President Muhammadu Buhari there. But of course, let's talk about the state of the Nigerian economy. You remember that man that sang a song some time ago in Yoruba language, Kosino Kosomi. And that is the state of things in Nigeria today. The last time some persons had power, okay, what we call electricity, can only be imagined. Do you know that there are people who since the beginning of this year have been living on generator? So when some persons complain about IBEDC, they say, oh, you are even fortunate. Your own case is not as worse as ours. But for some weeks now, coincidentally, almost at the time when fuel became scarce, power became something else in Nigeria. We were talking of the purchasing power of the naira before now. There are people who earn their income, and that income is no longer enough to take care of their transportation fare. These ones will feed themselves. They will feed their family. Someone said, people are merely existing, they are not living. I'm being joined now by the Oyo State Chairman of the Trade Union Congress, Comrade Emmanuel Ogundiran. He is an economist too. Comrade, it's good to have you on the program. Good morning.
Good morning, you are welcome. Good morning, Nigeria.
Thank you so much for your time on the program. Okay, so what actually is happening? What is happening? I'm asking you what is happening because accusing fingers have been pointed at workers too, those that you lead, okay, members of unions under TUC and NLC. The belief is that the government is not all alone in this. What is happening?
Thank you. I wouldn't know what accusing fingers. Members are not business. Workers are not businessmen. Workers have no oil wells. Workers are not into importing business of PMS and other petroleum products. Workers are workers. All what we do is to work. When our members were being laid off from the refineries because the refineries were no longer functioning, nobody was shouting, nobody was knowing. So it's only members at the depot where the imported, not locally refined or internally refined products were being distributed, remained working. Go to the Nigerian refineries. They have rendered, it's not that they cannot function, but some people intentionally rendered the refineries the moribund. They demobilize them, let me say. And where you have that, the expectant result is what is happening now in the riverine areas, illegal refineries. These are the people that are operating your own refinery. They are the people that are repairing it. They are the people that are maintaining it. So, throw them out of job. They have to find a means of survival along the line that they know. I'm not supporting it like that, but what I'm saying is, if our refineries are working, those illegal refineries will not be there.
Comrade, in the past, when issues like these come up, you would see the organized labor rising. Now, I know that severally we've talked about it and you said things have changed. So, the law has crippled the organized labor such that you can only fight for your people.
Yeah.
And even
First and foremost,
at that, we can still see you fight for your people. The workers they are also lamenting, they're complaining.
see, that's where I said the way people think, just like you here now. You're supposed to be wearing suit. You're supposed to be doing this. You're supposed to be doing this. People wouldn't know whether you are being paid wardrobe allowance or not. People wouldn't know what you are going through with your money. So, you see, by the time we expect something and it's only people we insinuate, want to phone, they have collected money. If that is the way the money is so available and so abundant, I mean,
is that what
you want to buy? And whoever has done that, you won't be bold enough to proclaim yourself as a labor leader, because those who are service you in quote will come out to tell you, look, who is speaking, who is talking. Since all these days our people have been making us, have they seen anybody, like, at least I've been on the seat for some time now, have they seen anybody coming to say this and that? So what we are saying is, we are still fighting, but there are ways to fight. You cannot fight outside the law. We are not just civil society organizations, we are not just activists, we are labor unionists, we are labor activists. We must operate according to law. Before you do anything, there has to be a period of meeting, there has to be a period of letter writing, there has to be period you have to invite mediators. It is when all those ones fails. When they fail, then we have that unique weapon. It's always the weapon of last resort. And that's why we don't just use it.
Okay, so is this how things will continue?
No.
I'm sure on your way down here,
No.
you must have seen Nigerians what they are going through.
Am I not? Am I not?
And I'm sure you're experiencing same.
That's what we are telling the government. See, why workers are now telling the government. I've just made some analysis elsewhere. A bricklayer today will go home with 3,005 on daily basis. If he works for 30 days, multiply that. Those support women that fetch water for them, they go home with 2,005 on daily basis. If they work for 30 days, multiply that. An average Nigerian worker that is so dedicated, committed, and loyal to the cause of this country goes on with an average of 1,000 naira per day. Multiply that by 30 days. It is that same 30,000 naira that the government has given by the right that he wants to take by the left. That is why we are concerned. And that is why we continue to shout. We continue to fight the government. Do you know, if not, the way an average Nigerian kept quiet when government wanted to make good its promise to remove fuel subsidy? If Nigerian workers had behaved like an average Nigerian, government would have had its way.
Were Nigerians quiet?
What? Tell me, who among Nigerians went up to the street, maybe carry placard or do whatever?
Maybe Nigerians were divided, not that they were quiet.
Nigerians were divided.
There are some who believe
whatever will rob them of their meaningful livelihood.
Some are ready to go through the pain.
One of them, I think it was Lamido then, that said Nigerians are cowards. And that Nigerians, if we unite, we can get whatever we want. But the political class said they know that if they allow us to unite, they will be the loser. So they won't allow us to unite. But on their own, they know where they meet because they are forever united. Read meaning to that statement by Lamido. And that is exactly so they have been succeeding in making sure Nigerians are never united through ethnicity, religion, race, or whatever bias. And Nigerians have been falling for it, hook, line, and sinker. Look at this is a Nigerian where we think our education was on the rise. But what do we have now? Out of school children are now increasing by day.
15 million. That's the total number.
The facilities, I don't want to talk of private institutions, the facilities in government schools is nothing to write home about. They expect a parent to bring chairs for his ward from the primary school, secondary school, even at the university. I was at Obafemi University, the school I attended when it was University of Ife before, towards the end of my own academic pursuit, was changed to Obafemi University in 1987. A lecture hall that used to contain just about 300 of us then. I think that was the biggest lecture hall then. A Greek lecture theater. Go there. You see students, Nigerian university students, the youth of tomorrow, the ruler of tomorrow, sitting on bare floor, receiving lectures. Some just leaning on railings in that lecture theater. So, what kind of product do you think those graduates will be? That is exactly what is affecting us. The ever-imagined Nigerian leaders from the political class, they lack focus. They are so selfish, so self-centered. They care about themselves. They spend more money on themselves than on the facilities. And they have forgotten that it is the facility that will outlast them. It is the facilities they create or they make that will show what their tenure looks like. This is the facilities that is lacking in this country.
We've been on this for a long time, okay? So we complain all the time.
Yeah.
We know what our problems are.
We've been telling them.
How do we solve this problem?
That is because people, look, you cannot expect a 79, 80-year-old man that is clinging on to life to give you what you know you have more longevity to live. What do you need?
What does that mean?
He rather spend on his personal health. He rather spend to maintain himself, to live longer, than seeing you achieving whatever you want to achieve. That is the type of leaders we have. I don't know how old is Lai Mohammed. If with the current information gadget and telecommunication gadget that we have today, you have somebody like Lai Mohammed as a communication minister. I mean, as the information minister. What type of information do you expect people like that to pass? How computer literate is Mr. Lai Mohammed?
They say age doesn't count.
And I'm now asking, this is a computer age. How computer literate is Mr. Lai Mohammed?
You can't
How
be too
computer
sure.
literate is Mr. President, that he can speak within a very short time with his contemporaries elsewhere. Look, you have to, this is an era of, you want to buy something, you have to compare prices here and there before you buy, all within a twinkle of an eye. Can this present leadership in this country do that? And with all the advisors, go and look at what is the average age of the leadership we have in this country. Put the ministers, the senators, and whatever, put them together. What is the average age? What is the average age of the Nigerian population? 18 to 25.
But comrade,
Can we say that
it took these ones to elect these ones into office.
That is the problem. Because they have impoverished this younger generation, they have blindfolded them, they have denied them of all what they need to exercise their freedom.
Does that still hold water? Okay,
Is it not still holding water?
For how long?
Look, go to the street. Is somebody like you that is importing cocaine, importing drugs, through which they turn the brain of the very eligible and upcoming Nigerians? You turn them into something else. You make Togri to be so viable, and you make the academics to be so secondary. All this affect all facets of our livelihood. And we're not talking of petroleum. Wait, is it you and me that imported that bad fuel? Is it not their generation? So what are we saying? Look at deceit. NNPC and the government, they said Nigeria at any point in time, we have PMS reservoir that can last this country for 30 days. Let us assume we consume 63 million liters like they say. We thank God it is off from 103 million liters on daily basis. Out of which they said 50% of it goes through smuggling. So let's assume we consume 63 million liters on daily basis. This government announced a few days ago that it has pumped 376 million liters of PMS into circulation. Where is it? Where is that? Look, when a crime subsists, something like this subsists for more than 1 week, it is government organized.
So do you think these filling stations don't have this product, or it's a case of them having and waiting for body language?
To do that? Can the government, if they know they have done the needful, don't they have a way of raising monitors? I mean, but when you know you don't give, you cannot monitor what you don't give. You remember in those days, they will continue to shout on daily basis, we have given this millions of fuel to this axis, millions of PMS to this axis, millions to this axis. So monitors can go out to monitor that based on that information.
That is true.
What do you have today? Silence. Deceit all over. What is the essence of this government? Good road, you cannot provide. Energy, you cannot provide. Water, you cannot provide. Affordable accommodation, you cannot provide. So why do we waste time? And look at, they have wasted time, money, and energy to put one electoral nonsense out.
No, electoral act.
Something that is, you put it out today and you are seeking amendment for another clause in there immediately. Are we serious? Is it not money they will use to print, reprint, go through first, second, third reading and whatever to amend that clause again? On serious set of leaders.
Okay, but comrade, how ready is the TUC to make good its threat?
No,
workers are affected.
The TUC is not saying, we said we are mobilizing. Because there was an agreement in place since September 28, 2020.
Which has to do with?
Has to do with, yes, we are not holding back government from deregulating the downstream sector. We are not saying government should not remove whatever they said they are removing from petroleum
Subsidy.
But if you want to do that, make our refineries functional. Then whoever you have given license, they said they had issued license for private sector refinery to some people. Let them start construction. Let the private sector and the government facilities function side by side. Wait, Anu, whom do you see complaining about the telecommunication deregulation today? Who is complaining? Because government facilities was made to function to its ability and capability, and the private sectors were allowed to come in to exercise their franchise. And what happened? The one that is ineffective died a natural death. The government tried to resuscitate it on so many occasions. They know it cannot compete with the private sector own. And what happened? So why can't government do this same thing for the petroleum industry? Let our refineries be functional. Let us be refining. Even they know that once they start refining, the issue of subsidy will be downplayed. It is only Nigeria out of OPEC countries that import 100% of what its citizens use. In other countries, they locally refine or they internally refine 90% and maybe augment with 10%. How much will 10% of the subsidy, how much will subsidy on 10% of the local consumption cost? It's like we are borrowing to consume. That is the meaning of the subsidy.
We are borrowing to consume.
Yes, and government knows. Had it been all what is being paid for is being supplied. That is another fact check that government has never responded to. You see, you make us to talk, you never bring this government down. Take hold of one of them. Let them come down. Confront them with all these facts and figures. All these allegations. Confront them. Let them now deny or confirm some. Look, am I the one collecting subsidy? Don't they know the few ones that are collecting subsidy? Can they do something about them? Instead of putting suffering on millions of Nigerians. They know what to do.
Do you see the queues vanishing anytime soon?
The government do the needful, that queue will vanish. I learned in Lagos the situation is improving. Maybe because it was 3 days ago they says fuel has started going to the states. And you know what happened? At some stations people bought about 200, 250 per liter. I accosted some of them. They said so as for them to render the service and also for them to make something. When NNPC PMS was not available, they went to some independent marketers with depot. And those ones they sold to them at exorbitant. I think they said 180 naira per liter. That was the lifting cost. What of the landing cost? They have to make their transportation will be there, and they have to put their own profit margin too. So you not blame them. But I said a lot of them are skeptical because government said petrol has come. So they wouldn't want to go for that exorbitant one, and the government will have flooded market with its own regulated one.
Okay.
So this is what is landing us where we are. But if the government can do the needful, put the refineries, make them functional, let the private sector look. As shameless as a country like Nigeria is, a private man is building a refinery, and the whole government is spending money to buy shares. Who has the land? That person is richer than Nigeria. But that person was given the license by this country. Look, let us think of some things. That it is because our leaders they are visionless.
Let me invite the people to join the conversation. What is it like in your own area? What's the experience like over there? That is what
I know. You want people to vent their spleen. You and I, you drove through some place down to this place. I drove through some place down to this place. All along the route, It's only 2. Even the other one, they are not open. That is this private sector, whatever, Bovas. It's only an NPC I saw along the route I travel all through that is open, and there's a very long queue. NNPC is government approved petrol station.
And we heard.
So if you allow people will just be saying the obvious.
Let's get to hear from the people. What's the experience like? As beautiful as your submission may be, there are some Nigerians who want to pick up one or two things with the organized labor, because some persons believe that the organized labor is part of the problem.
Oh well, because we are Nigerians, but we are not at that leadership position. We are at a very disadvantaged position where the government sees us as opposition, whereas we are supposed to be complementing the government. But this is a government that doesn't listen to advice. Look at, I said our members are being laid off the refineries.
So the 10 billion naira overhead cost, what is it for?
That is why I said pick one of them. Ask them, what do they do with that 10 billion naira overhead cost that they have been spending on these refineries for long?
0815.
Even during the Jonathan era, these refineries were working 25%, 30%, 40%. If we have 4 refineries working at 40% capacity, we will not be talking of that very huge amount of fuel subsidy.
Let's get to hear from the people. 0815-192-5925, 0902-2809-257. Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Thank you so much.
My name is your man from you.
You're welcome.
Just out of just mention one on the one. Individual can build a refinery and a government not. And that is what some of the things like the Macron, when he was in power, he hated Nigeria very, 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 very well. If that man could make for the second time, now he will have chased every Nigerian out of America so that we will not destroy that place. If he there, you know, how can somebody vote for this leader in power? He did say that at this point in time. That's the best of the day.
All right, thank you so much, Adeshi Omola, for your time on the program this morning. What are you going through? As long as Nigerian youths have been perpetually weakened economically, this present political landlords will always have their way. Benga Ogundia from Olodo. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you.
It's Bola from Ogundia.
Okay, Kalawel Kazi.
I just want to say that it is not the option of government to establish it finally. I just need to say that this is government that does not have a single refinery is useless because they don't have a refinery. And it's just a refinery. We have no business.
Okay, Kalawel Kazi. Can you kindly call back, okay? We're having issues. Whenever we want to call in, let's get a vantage position to call from. Good morning, IBR. It's a welcome development, signing the electoral bill into law. I passed through Ibadan North Local Government INEC office, where I saw a large number of people queued to register for PVC. It's so painful that Oyo State Deputy Speaker, Honorable Mohammed Aderemi Abiodun Father, he didn't come. We hope to see him soon. Hopefully that will happen. Let's get to hear from you. 0815-192-5925, 0902-280-9257. Hello, good morning. Hello, sir. You're welcome.
I want to thank Emmanuel, our comment. God bless you. It's not the thing you have said. I want the management is set by this around. When the air is watching, your body will be watching. I want to come back this morning under your review. If and actually, Dangote is singularly he had to think see what he's doing. So you may have people that put some money there for the major stakeholder. What I mean for this is a bad image. When people see us do that, remember that Usibadu said that our problem is unable to have a good leader. Indirectly, is something as well. And I cannot blame him. Remember, I want to cite as authority. He was head of a staff. He started until he got the power. See change that is taking place in that state now. He changed everything. That's why he cannot do anything. Deputy constituency, they are impotent. We need to talk to ourselves. NSC, I said the other time, you have to wake up. Yeah, it's still alive with that go down. Yeah, CD, come on, you need to wake up. We know that you are working. Only people, they are not there. They have got the power from somewhere that we cannot explain.
All right.
Of course, not to be on the side. It's a money.
Thank you so much, Mr. Stephen Oyedele, for your time. Kudos to PMB for signing what will give birth to a new Nigeria. We need to compete with Singapore, Taiwan, ADC. All right, Mr. Sam from Akwete. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, welcome.
Thank you.
I salute your guest. There are obvious facts in what your guest says. If our petrol sector in the I think our problem will not be complicated in this. And they have rightly observed that those at the end of the year in this country, they are punishing us. Most of them are egocentric. They are only fighting for their post, not the interest of the people they are representing. Truly representing our interests. In fact, what we are passing through in this country will not be like this. We have people that are so intelligent in this country will find a solution to the problem of the country in a blink of an eye. They do not permit them to do it because we have some cabal from this country and we know that God will fight our cause. Thank you, God.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ogunyinka from Olodo, for your time on the program this morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much, sir.
I am Ahmed Shitu. Interestingly, I'm calling from Ijebu.
Prime Minister Shitu, you're welcome, sir.
I want us to discuss solutions inside the deep sea. We must always find a way to escape. Let us deal with the issue within ourselves. And as I come to the job this morning, you saw a lot of black market sellers on the road. What is the Nigerian police doing? What is the Nigerian military doing? By now, why are we witch hunting ourselves? Is it federal government that created this black market? If we put the black market together, let us work on that immediately. Let us use the issue of political issues. The political issues are there, and we have to resolve them as they come. We have seen that this is the era of solution for the economy. But we have to wait and with it and there. Yes, in the issue of what should we start Gavajan? What's the next action for Nigerians? We for the action with what's the next action? We resolve. We made it work again. Finally, the issue of black marketers are also killing us. Asking for high exorbitant people. The Nigerian people about that. Good morning.
All right, Prime Minister Shitu from Ijebu, thank you so much for your time. Prime Minister Shitu, you heard him, comrade.
I was surprised he said, was it the government that created the black market?
Of course.
If it wasn't the government, who created? Who? If the facilities are working, if there is fuel available, would there be any black market?
How did the government create these?
I've just asked you, if the facilities are working, the refineries are working, and fuel is being distributed, will there be black markets? Even if there are, who will go there? Who will patronize them? Look, yes, and I said something. He challenged the Nigerian police, the Nigerian military. It is, you don't know how these people got their products. Because government knew there was no product. Government knew it has not flooded the market with the product. Now, will somebody come and tell me how do I get my water? Was government supplying me water? And will I starve? If the national grid is down and I have light in my house, will government come and ask me how do I get my light? Whatever you cannot provide, there should be other means of providing it. I want to tell you, the black market that you are seeing is the making of the government. Just like the black market or the parallel market in the money market is the making of the government.
The making of the government.
Yes, because the government has failed to do the needful.
So in this case, what do you expect the government to do?
Which one? Look, Anu,
now, because
you want people to be annoyed with you.
No.
Which of the refineries on record? On record.
No, we know.
You can call Mr. Lai Mohammed. Which of our refineries is working? If those refineries are working, won't fuel be available? We
know, but
look, do you know it's robbing us. So look at the asphalting of road that is being done. Do you know those asphalt is more of black oil than asphalt and bitumen?
To solve
Whereas if we are refining, bitumen is a byproduct of crude oil.
To solve this problem, we have an emergency on our hands.
The emergency it's no more an emergency.
It's no more an emergency.
It's becoming a way of life. Importation. That is what we have on our hand. So if anything happens where you are importing from, you will have problem. Then what happens to your own facility that you have not made to function?
If all Nigerians would do the rightful thing at this time, do you think some persons will want to cash in on this moment? Because that is what is happening.
No. Do all Nigerians have the right to this issue that we are talking of?
Of course.
Nigeria can import fuel.
Oh, you're talking of importation? No.
All Nigerians, we can create the fuel, Abi. Look, government has taken it upon its own to provide fuel through its agency, and the agency has failed. Who will look for alternative? Water go find its level.
But is this the kind of message that we need at this time?
I'm not passing that message but this is an emergency period, just like I've said. This is a critical period. What we are doing is I am charging the government to do that which is sworn to the constitution to do.
That can be done today. Neither can it be done next week.
Wait. Which one can be? Government cannot provide fuel today.
I mean, fixing the refinery.
The government has told us that there is 30 days fuel availability. 10 days disruption. 10 days. They said the fuel that was bad, that was brought in, was to serve for 10 days. If there is available 20 days, why can't they be releasing that 20 days and the 10 days that was returned will come in as a backup? But you have seen that there is no 20 days anywhere. That the government is deceiving us. The government is telling lies. The government has not come out clean. It is the government that put the country in this whole mess, and it is the economy that is suffering.
And Nigerians are suffering too.
Once the economy is suffering, Nigerians will suffer.
It's quite unfortunate. I must say a big thank you to you, Comrade Emmanuel Ogundiro. All through, you believe the buck stops on the table of the government, and that is the truth.
The government want to liberalize. We have said it, liberalize. But before you do that, your own facility must be seen to be working. Then you allow other players to come in. Whoever cannot compete will die a natural death. But you cannot just you have killed your own facility. Then that means you are allowing other players to come in and be extorting.
Thank you so much, Comrade, for your time on Bottom Line this morning. May God lead our leaders right. I will keep praying for them. Thank you so much.
Don't pray for Nigerian leaders again because they don't deserve our prayers.
We'll keep praying.
If they are doing the right thing, we'll continue to pray for them.
All right. After this short commercial break, Mr. Taiwo Adisa, the Chief Press Secretary to Governor Seyi Makinde, is here. We'll pick it up from where we are dropping it.
Brent Mall. Oh yes, Brent Mall is your one-shop solution to all your shopping needs. Get the best products and services every day at Brent Mall. Go ahead and share beautiful moments with friends and families as you shop. Play games in arcade. Eat the best meals. Have fun at Brent Supermarkets. Enjoy the moments with loved ones at Brent Supermarkets. Enjoy rich, sumptuous, tasty delicacies at Brent Eateries. Treat yourself to a wholesome experience of rich, yummy ice cream and smoothies at the Brent Mall Ice Cream Lounge. We've got the best for you always. Visit Brent's Bakeries today for your daily fresh bread. At Brent Boutique, we've got the finest blend of luxury, elegance, and style for your fashion delight. Brent electronic gadgets are quality, durable, and reliable. Get yours today. Shop with us today at Brent Mall, Apata, Ibadan. Brent Mall, Old Ife Road, Ibadan. And also at Brent Mall, Taki, Ogumosho. Check out our social media pages at Brent Supermarkets. Brent Mall, stay healthy, stay happy.
Ǹjẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ wípé àwọn obìnrin ń kojú ìpèníjà ìfìyàjẹni tó ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú ọrọ̀ ajé? Àwọn obìnrin tí kò tíì lọ́kọ ni wọn ò gbà láyè láti dàgbàlé tàbí ní ojúkò ìtajà. Bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni wọn ò lórí ọ̀fẹ́ àti gbàyè sinmi lẹ́nu iṣẹ́ láti tọ́mọ bí wọ́n bá bímọ. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kò sí àtìlẹ́yìn kankan fún ìmúgbòòrò okòwò wọn. Ẹ gba àwọn obìnrin láàyè láti dàgbàlé kí wọ́n sì lè ṣòwò tí wọ́n ń fẹ́ nítorí wọ́n dángájíá sí kójú òṣùwọ̀n láti dá sanwó ilé wọn. Ẹ ṣàtìlẹ́yìn fáwọn okòwò tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ ń dá sílẹ̀ nílùú Ìbàdàn ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ tó ń ti mímú àdínkù dé bá owó orí táwọn oníṣòwò obìnrin ń san. Ẹ fòpin sí ìfàbùkù kan ni tí wọ́n ń ṣe sí àwọn obìnrin tó ń wa kẹ̀kẹ́ àtàwọn tí ń ṣe iṣẹ́ tá a mọ ọkùnrin mọ́ nílùú Ìbàdàn. Ẹ dẹ́kun àkọlù àti ìwà ipá sáwọn obìnrin nílùú Ìbàdàn ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́. Kópa tirẹ̀ láti ṣe ìfẹsẹ̀múlẹ̀ ìdájọ́ òdodo fún ìfòpin sí ìkọlù àwọn obìnrin tó ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú ọrọ̀ ajé nílùú Ìbàdàn. Women Save House Sustenance Initiative pẹ̀lú àtìlẹ́yìn Urgent Action Fund Africa ló ń kéde.
It is time for Bottom Line with Admiral Omorinde. Bottom Line, expanding capacity for political participation.
Welcome back, everyone. It is Bottom Line here on Impact Business Radio, IBR 92.5 FM, Ibadan. Of course, I have the word of the Deputy Speaker that this program should be rescheduled. And so, in case you have any question for him, maybe next week, maybe the coming week, of course, we'll work things out. And of course, you would have the opportunity of engaging in. But Mr. Taiwo Adesa, the Chief Press Secretary to Governor Seyi Makinde, is with me in the studio at this time. We want to look at governance in Oyo State. There are questions that the people of the state are throwing up. There are things the people would want to know. And we're going to start with this issue of fuel. Okay, you recall that on Rise and Shine 2 days ago, there was a suggestion that the state government should send out a task force, maybe in different teams, to different areas within the metropolis and of course in the state. We got a report that what is happening in Ibadan is not different from what is happening in Oyo Town. Of course, even before now, Okyogun, precisely Shaki, has been having this particular issue. It actually started, I think, in January in Shaki, talking of fuel scarcity, but that was dealt with not quite long after it started. But here we are. There are queues everywhere. Even those you think should have this product, a lot of people would have loved to go out today. They don't have it. What can the state government do? Let us start from that particular one. Thank you so much, Mr. Adesa, for your time on the program.
Yeah, thanks to you, and welcome. Good morning, listeners. Good morning, and where they say happy weekend, I think it's becoming a fad in Nigeria now.
The weekend there is nothing to be happy about.
I don't know whether the artist to be happy about or whether the weekend is happy itself. And then let us keep up alive. Yeah. I thank you, Anu, for the intervention you have made. But let me say it categorically that there is very little a state government can do when it has to do with items that are largely on the exclusive list of the Constitution of Nigeria. As you can see, the management of petrol is on the exclusive list of Nigerian Constitution 1999, and the Minister of Petrol, to make that importance very clear, the Minister of Petrol, as we speak, is the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The person that you see running the sector on a day-to-day basis, or the persons that you see running the sector on a day-to-day basis, are just helping the President. The Chief Operating Officer of that sector is the President of Nigeria. That's to tell you that the sector is a high-stake one, where the states can largely look. They may not be able to take some firm positions as they want to. If there is fuel scarcity, it affects the state, or the states also. If the supply is distorted, just like it's been distorted now, it affects even the state government too, because the state government don't have their refineries, they don't have they don't even have capacity to build refineries. If the federal government itself cannot build refinery, or the ones that were built by previous government cannot even be maintained. And as we speak now, 100% of our fuel that we are consuming in Nigeria is being imported from, you wait for it, Niger Republic, is in Niger or Chad, that is also producing
Niger,
just by our door here, but just by our boundary, that is also producing that. Nigeria is importing from such a country, and some other countries across the world that were not as much as you could see before now in terms of economy, doing well as Nigeria was in previous years. So it's largely in the corridor of the federal government. What the state can do will have to do with intelligence. If there are intelligence reports that some filling stations are holding fuel, if the state gets in touch with credible information to that effect, the state can engineer how that kind of filling station will be.
We have many of them in Ibadan.
Well, you need to have credible information as to when the fuel was supplied, how much of it was dispensed, and that they actually have fuel locked up in their tanks and then shut down against the people. You need to have credible information, as I say, because the state government is not party to the management of the tanks that you have here, even the one that the NNPC depot that we have in Ibadan. The state government is not a party to its management, so we don't know which filling station was supplied for, at what volume, and all that. So if you don't have those details, it will be difficult for you to just go to filling station A and say, "Oh, Mr. Filling Station, you have fuel." We saw that because it sold fuel yesterday, and you saw that it's not selling fuel today. You now say, "Oh, you must have been holding fuel." You'll be just chasing what you don't know. So it's difficult for states to really dabble into that kind of sector, because it's like the comrade that spoke, it's like a blind sector. It's whatever they want you to see that you see in that sector. Whatever, the more you look, the less you see. That's the way they've been running that sector. So it's difficult for states to really intervene the way they want to, because no state government will want its people to be suffering. But how much information is in the hands of the state government as to how many filling stations have fuel, how much information or even legal capacity can the states muster in terms of whipping them online? Those are the issues.
There are some who believe that when it comes to monitoring and maybe surveillance, the Oyo State government as presently constituted is weak. They believe the government does not want to offend anyone for whatsoever reason. It has actually happened in this state. The suggestion is that the state government can set up a task force.
I don't know which area you are talking about in terms of is this still on the same
on this same issue? People will not want to do the right thing, but the state government can intervene.
Let me tell you that we should not beg the question. when issues are on ground like this. Let's not beg the question. The comrade that left here just told you about the failures of the federal government to put things in place. And so if the federal government has failed to do its duties, and you don't pamper that government to say, oh, we accept that you have failed to do your duty, then another person should start doing the duty when the other person is not backed by law to do it. And so let's face the federal government and tell them to do what is their job. And their job is to make life easy for everybody, particularly in the supply of oil, fuel, or oil, or whatever area it is, whether it is the fuel that we consume in this or the other oil that they use in the factories and other. Because luckily for us, Nigeria has this thing under its soil. A part of Nigeria has it under its soil, though that part of Nigeria is suffering for it in terms of environmental degradation and all that. But then the little thing the federal government can do is to manage that product to the extent that every part of Nigeria can get it. And we're not getting it for free. We're getting it almost at international rate. So why should the federal government fail in doing that? And why should we shift the blame to another government? Don't shift the blame to state governments. Let the federal government do its job. At least we didn't complain in 2021 all through when there was no fuel disruption. Years that we didn't have fuel disruptions to fuel supply, nobody complained about that. People even use that as a campaign item. But right now, they should not allow Nigerians to be suffering to get fuel and distorting the economic life of people.
Okay, so where are the Omituntun buses, Mr. Adisa? If there is any time that these buses are needed, maybe this time around, you will agree with me.
If they are pushed to the road, that is, will they run on water?
Oh, will it affect the state government too?
Even the first situation affect every state government in this country. 36 state government, none of them has refinery. None of them.
But there is pool.
How long can the pool? The federal government told you that it has a pool that can serve for 30 days. Have you seen the effect of that 30 days? Since this problem started. So there's how big can a pool be that a state government can maintain? Probably you have 2 tankers buried under the ground, maybe 33, but at most maybe you have 33,000 liters or whatever, if you can maintain that capacity. And then for how many people you know will take fuel from that kind of dump on a daily basis? So how long can it last them? And so if the supply chain is already disrupted by at the uppermost level, then everybody suffers. So the Omituntun buses are well and kicking. The Omituntun buses have started work in some areas. And the last time
there's this allegation that the Omituntun buses only convey PDP members from Oyo State to functions outside the state.
Don't raise allegations that are
I'm not the one
lacking in foundation and have no basis at all, because a business is a business, and a business does not know the face of anybody. If I set up a business, I'm selling a boutique. It's not my business whether you belong to ADC, ANPP, whatever you be, or whether you don't even belong to any party, or whether your religion is so, or you don't even have any religion. It's not my business. My business is that you come and buy my market. And so the buses that were procured because the state government want to use them for business. So whoever has his money can go and book with the Peseta Transport bus or the Peseta Transport company, and then they will render their services.
So it's not one that the people would
anybody that care to apply for their services.
All right.
So it's a business, and if you need any more details on the operational items of their businesses, you can call the
GM. It's good that the people are getting, because the state government had been called out severally. People have asked,
where are they? On the basis of information and fact, not on the basis of conjecture and insinuation that have no basis.
So let's establish it.
This transport company is set up as a business outfit, and it is there to serve anybody, any Nigerian, any other state indigene or citizen, who wants to participate in that business.
Okay, so
you want to charter this bus to go to Calabar, they would give you the fares, and then you pay, and they go there. They don't. It's not their business whether you are a party member or you are not a party
So these buses are not the type that the people should expect will be plying maybe gate to Iwo Road.
They will still
Ele
they will still come to that.
to Ologun
They will still come to that. We told you that I think I said it on this station or whether on another station some time ago that the buses have a dual. They have multiple role functions. One of the functions that they are already doing right now is charter services.
Okay.
Another function is the train services. They go to train station. They go to the train station to pick passengers as they alight from the trains from Lagos, the Lagos Ibadan train station in Moniya. So they go there, and most of the times people that have been using this the train services have confessed that yes, their fares are good and they are okay, and the buses are also okay. So they run that train station services. They do commercial hire services, and so they convey people across the country. But the intra-city aspect of it is also another function of theirs, which is coming up, but which will be tied to the bus terminals that are being constructed. You can see that the bus terminal in Challenge is done. The Iwo Road, I mean the Ojo end of it is also almost done, and so we expect that once these ones come on stream, the buses can take off because they will have places to park. If they start with the situation of the roads right now, they will be causing obstructions here and there. So because you need them to have places to park, enter, people go to board them, and they go to destinations and other. So because of the sanity that you need on the roads, you don't want to just deploy them internally yet, but they are doing some other functions which I've highlighted: the train services and the charter services.
Thank you so much for the clarification. Let's talk about the economy. Yeah. What is the debt profile of Oyo State presently?
Well, if you want to talk about debt profile or funding or finance and things like that, well, I will not beg the question, but I will tell you basically that the person in the with the full knowledge of those details will be the finance commissioner. But I can tell you that we are not fearful of disclosing our details. One, two, we are not running at a loss as to terms of as to issues of borrowing or not borrowing. Number one, every payment, every borrowing that we've got to make, we announce them ahead of time. Once there's a commitment by the State Executive Council to say this so money will be borrowed for so purposes, the announcement is made, and that is why some people confused to think that when the actual borrowing is now being done, they think that it's another borrowing, is another money entirely. We talk about 100 billion loan that was approved by the House of Assembly. We talked about it when it was conceived. Now, when the House of Assembly passed the approval that okay, the state can go and borrow, they thought it's another borrowing, and so people confuse a lot of figures to think that the state must have borrowed blah 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 blah. No, but what you should know is that every borrowing that has been made is tied to project. The 100 billion that was that we talk about, there are analysis as to what it will be used for. Now, if you are an NGO, for instance, in your state, and what you can do is to target: have they borrowed? Has the state collected the money from the lenders? Okay, if the state has collected the money, the projects they talk about, are they focusing on those projects? Are the loans being targeted at those projects? We talk about the circular road. Have you seen that we have defaulted in that area? We talk about the alternative project funding projects that we are doing across the state. We mention them. We talk about the improvement to the airport in Alakia. Have you seen those improvements? We talk about, and you saw recently that the governor flagged off the road, the dollarization of the road leading to the airport. And so the series of projects that government has had to borrow for, they've always analyzed this and this and this.
You know why?
So
It
there's
is
no fear as to whether the state is indebted or whether the state cannot carry its indebtedness and things like that.
It's important we clarify this, because there are those who would even at times they make you want to lose confidence in your knowledge, even as a journalist. And it's good that we have people like you come to clarify.
Well,
There is this fear that
lose-
Governor Sheyi Makinde secretly has been borrowing to pay salaries.
That's why I tell you that you should tell people to speak on the basis of facts and facts only, because journalism dwells on facts. By the time you go into conjecture, you are doing some other things. Maybe you are doing drama or whatever. But when you want to talk about journalism, you go to deal on facts. If anybody has seen a bank that says, I'm the bank that is borrowing the state government money to pay salary, let them come out with that kind of fact. Don't let them be telling us that it is impossible that a state government cannot pay salary. How is it possible that I've read in some places also that Borno State, that is so attacked by that has been so battered by Boko Haram, is also paying salary? So which economic activities are going on in that Borno State? But how come the state government is also able to pay salary? I think it's the commitment of the person at the helm of affairs to the welfare of the people that matters. If a governor is in the biggest of the biggest states with the biggest economy in this country, that government can still default on the payment of salaries, because if the governor does not see payment of salaries or welfare of the people as his priority, so it will just squander the money on some other things. But because somebody is able to manage his own income to the extent that, okay, so will come at so time, so will come at so time, and so they pay salaries, and you think that you could cause magic, you could tag that as magic, or tag that as, oh, you must have been borrowing. Where's your evidence to say you must have been borrowing? So let us not do conjecture here. Let us stand on the basis of facts. And the fact of the matter is that the state government has been able to pay salaries every month on the 25th. It's not just salaries, I must tell you. There's also pensions and gratuities are also being paid. So pensions of people are also being, or retirees are also being paid on that day. So it's not magic. It is just about commitment to welfare of the people.
The consortium handling the secular road promised, because the contract was revoked from it, it threatened that it won't allow work to be done because it had an agreement, and that the Governor Sheyi Makinde-led administration has breached that agreement. And of a truth, I'm talking of the secular road.
Yeah.
Mr. Adisa, what is the state of things? That consortium seems to be making good its threat.
What have they done? Apart from...
But what has the state government also done
the state
on the
government
road?
has, I think you are not following this matter. The state government has given another consortium that project.
That's true.
It has awarded the contract. And there's this commitment by the state government that before the end of 2023, a certain percentage of the road will be delivered. So you wait for that project to 2023 for us to see 2023 and see whether 1%,
we've
2%,
paid inspection
3%
to that side.
4 have not been delivered. So a new consortium is handling the project. But let me tell you about the old consortium. Yes, there is ordinarily no issue between them and the government of Oyo State. But I think they put their hands in some other things that is making them to fear that if they just go without raising dust, the state government will just take them down, just like that. They had some other projects which they didn't complete. The Akobo road, that bridge, and the road that goes into Akobo, is the Abashon, then Bashoron Road, straight down to from Idiakwe, Bashoron, Akubo, or straight down like that. It's also one of the projects that was given to them. They failed to act on that project. They collected money beyond the delivery that they made. The state government pushed and pushed. They couldn't move beyond a certain point, and it was frustrated, and it has to be revoked. Then we also had the circular road itself. The circular road itself, yes, they signed an agreement with the previous government that circular road will be delivered in 3 years. When Governor Seyi Makinde came on board, that was in 2019. He made a visit to that road, June 2019, and saw that, July 2019, and saw that nothing practically had taken place in 2 years, in over 2 years. And he said, well, as an engineer, my instinct would be that this company should stop work and let us talk about what they can do. They thought that it was going to be arbitrary. It didn't go arbitrary. He called them to the office and said, let us hold a meeting and lay your cards on the table. What can you do? And that company was already trying to politicize the issue, believing that because the contract was awarded by an APC government, so the current PDP government will want to politicize the issue. No, it's not about politics. So the government now said, okay, we are not going to have issue with you. Go and complete this project. This project, we said, will be completed in 3 years. That's according to what you signed, the agreement you signed with the state government. Go and complete your contract, so that by the time 3 years lapses, then you hand over the project to us. So that was what the state government did in 2019, late 2019, and by 2020 May 2020, the contract lapsed. It was 3 years, and so you can't go beyond what is written on paper that you have put your pen onto. You sign a contract for 3 years, and the 3 years had lapsed. So we don't need to tell you to leave the site.
So there was a breach of agreement.
The contract lapsed automatically. Even they were still there by up to August, I think, or September thereabout of last year, when their contract had expired in May 2020. And so what the government of Oyo State now did was to say, okay, since your contract has lapsed, go and estimate whatever you have done in your own, so that on your own record, put down the record of what you have done. Give it to us. We give it to experts who analyze it, and so another contractor will take over. So that's where we are. So we are not fighting with them. We don't have any issue with them over whatever. If they want to take any issue with us, the records are there. So It's not about conjecture. It's not about magic. It's about facts.
We're going to pay some bills at this time. When we come back, we'll be talking about security. But in the meantime, you can drop your text message, maybe an observation, a question you have for the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor. You can drop your text message on 0905-221-3356. 0905-221-3356. We'll be back.
Brent Mall. Oh yes, Brent Mall is your one-shop solution to all your shopping needs. Get the best products and services every day at Brent Mall. Go ahead and share beautiful moments with friends and families as you shop. Play games and arcade. Eat the best meals. Have fun at Brent Supermarkets. Enjoy the moments with loved ones at Brent Supermarkets. Enjoy rich, sumptuous, tasty delicacies at Brent Eateries. Treat yourself to a wholesome experience of rich, yummy ice cream and smoothies at the Brent Mall Ice Cream Lounge. We've got the best for you always. Visit Brent's Bakeries today for your daily fresh bread. At Brent Boutique, we've got the finest blend of luxury, elegance and style for your fashion delight. Brent electronic gadgets are quality, durable and reliable. Get yours today. Shop with us today at Brent Mall, Apata, Ibadan. Brent Mall, Old Ife Road, Ibadan. And also at Brent Mall, Taki, Ogumosho. Check out our social media pages at Brent Supermarkets. Brent Mall, stay healthy, stay happy.
ǹjẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ wípé àwọn obìnrin ń kojú ìpèníjà ìfìyàjẹni tó ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú ọrọ̀ ajé? Àwọn obìnrin tí kò tí ì lọ́kọ ni wọn ò gbà láyè láti dàgbàlé tàbí ní ojúkò ìtajà. Bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni wọn ò lórí ọ̀fẹ́ àti gbàyè sinmi lẹ́nu iṣẹ́ láti tọ́mọ bí wọ́n bá bímọ. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kò sí àtìlẹ́yìn kankan fún ìmúgbòòrò okòwò wọn. Ẹ gba àwọn obìnrin láàyè láti dàgbàlé kí wọ́n sì lè ṣòwò tí wọ́n ń fẹ́ nítorí wọ́n dángájíá sì kójú òṣùwọ̀n láti dá sanwó ilé wọn. Ẹ ṣàtìlẹ́yìn fáwọn okòwò tóbìnrin ń dá sílẹ̀ nílùú Ìbàdàn ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ tó ń ti mímú àdínkù dé bá owó orí táwọn oníṣòwò obìnrin ń san. Ẹ fòpin sí ìfàbùkù kan ni tí wọ́n ń ṣe sí àwọn obìnrin tó ń wa kẹ̀kẹ́ àtàwọn tí ń ṣe iṣẹ́ tá a mọ ọkùnrin mọ́ nílùú Ìbàdàn. Ẹ dẹ́kun àkọlù àti ìwà ipá sáwọn obìnrin nílùú Ìbàdàn ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́. Kópa tirẹ̀ láti ṣe ìfẹsẹ̀múlẹ̀ ìdájọ́ òdodo fún ìfòpin sí ìkọlù àwọn obìnrin tó ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú ọrọ̀ ajé nílùú Ìbàdàn. Women Save House Sustenance Initiative pẹ̀lú àtìlẹ́yìn Urgent Action Fund Africa ló ń kéde.
All right, welcome back, everyone. It's Bottom Line here on Impact Business Radio, Ibr92.5 FM. But on this segment of the program, I have the Chief Press Secretary to Governor Sheyi Makinde, Mr. Taiwo Adisa, with me. You can tweet at us at Ibr92.5FM Ibadan. We're live on YouTube as well. Check us up there. You want to send a text message 0905 221 3356. That is the number. We're also live on Facebook. Okay. Abdullahi Arasi Badmurs says on Facebook, Brother Noah and our guest, we say thank you. Our guest inclusive of the lucky contributors. I believe the cause of our predicament is unrighteousness. Our leaders need to wake up and search their conscience. They owe Nigerians a lot and must pay before they die. Okay, I'm sure that's in respect to our last conversation. One of the reasons Nigeria has never developed as well as our great potentials will suggest is that we live on collectively accepted lies. Among the most enduring is the idea that this country asks for refineries. Government should get out of the refinery business, relinquish the business to the private sector, and stay out of the fixing prices. It requires no great imagination to arrive at the obvious conclusion that Nigerian government cannot manage refineries. They can only damage it. Hayadele from Malakia sent that message. Oyo government claimed it has increased the state IGR, which I found hard to believe based on certain facts. Okay, certain hidden facts from the government. The local government today isn't functioning. All the revenues the local government ought to collect is being collected by the state. If the state government can deduct the local government revenue from the total revenue per month, then tell us how much the state made in a month without that of the local government, then I would believe their spurious claims. Okay, Biodunwola sent that message. Please, what is the state of our Fashade Badeku Jago Road? Thank you. But next time, include your name, sir. All right, let's know. Before I open the phone lines, and of course, before you begin to react, let's talk about the state of security.
Well, there's an overlap from what you read.
Okay.
Somebody talking about IGR of the state, that I didn't believe the IGR of the state. Well, that's still in the area of congestion. About facts, we have been trained to deal with facts. The facts of the matter is with authorities, and the authorities don't end with Oyo State government. So if the person is really interested in looking for facts, he should ask MBS, National Bureau of Statistics. Is an agency that has been calibrated by the World Bank, by IMF, by all the agencies of the world. So that its systems are well respected, and its facts are well respected globally. So the MBS came up with, or usually come up with, figures, IGR figures of all the states of the Federation on a yearly basis, even on a 6-month basis, the half-year basis, and then the full-year basis. So the figures that are ascribed to Oyo State were not cooked up by Oyo State government. They are figures brought together by the National Bureau of Statistics. But I would answer him on the issue of local governments. The local governments and the state have no problem in sharing their tax proceeds, because the laws are very clear as to what the local government should collect, and the laws are also clear as to what the state can collect. There are some that were consolidated in the years past. Those ones that are consolidated for ease of collection, the state at the state level, they also have a replica of FAC at the state level, where they sit on as a result of the joint account which the Constitution of Nigeria allows, because they sit at the joint table to review what comes into the joint account as a result of the taxes that were collectively collected, and so they share those things in accordance with the law. So those ones don't come into the IGR of the state. The money of the local government go to the local government on the table where the sharing formula is done, and the money that belongs to the state government is accounted for. And the National Bureau of Statistics also know all the details that they should know. And so in ascribing the data, to the IGR of Oyo State, it is the money generated by Oyo State itself that is accounted for. If it's also in doubt, the other time we were talking about VAT, and the issue of VAT came up. The River State government took the federal government to court and all that. And the statistics came up as to which state generated the highest, some of the highest VAT incomes in that year. And you saw your state coming coming with over 60 billion in that year. So it's not just an isolated case to say that your state IGR has gone up. There's an amount which was being collected before we came in, about 1.8, between 1.6 and 1.8 billion on a monthly basis. Now it's over 3 billion accounted for by the state government's own taxes, not because you annex taxes that belong to local government and all. No, taxes that belong to local government, even the ones that are consolidated, are being collected together. They share them before Oyo State government accounts for its own money. So local governments have their own money. Oyo State government has its own money.
Okay, because these are impressions that the state government is usurping the pies of local government.
There is nothing like that, because even where the taxes are consolidated, just like I told you, for ease of collection, there is a table on which they share these things, and the one that will go to the local government goes to the local government. The ones that go to the state goes to the state.
Okay, so the state government wants to negotiate with thugs and touts. Some persons found that so strange. What is the rationale behind this?
Well, I would not use those words, negotiate with thugs and touts and all that. If you are talking of something in the area of amnesty, for instance, that's the way I will put it. I won't put it out to say that we are going to negotiate with touts, with courts and all that. No. But you are in this country when the federal government of Nigeria brought about the issue of amnesty to the people of Niger Delta, to militants in the Niger Delta. Those militants were on record to have committed a number of infractions here and there. But because they said they were fighting against environmental degradation and neglect by the federal government. And so those infractions brought oil production of Nigeria down to the ridiculous low. More less than half of our production was being pumped at a point. I think about 700,000 barrels were being pumped under President Yar'Adua. And that president believed that, we can do something. So why not call these people to roundtable and other? So the people that the state government might come to the roundtable are not people who are on the list of maybe wanted list of security agencies who have committed crash criminality against the state. But you saw infractions in some places where some people are fighting. They say Ijagboro and Ijabadan or something. Now, where that Ijagboro, quote and unquote, is the issue that is being talked about here. Who are the people causing this thing? What is the rationale behind, or what is pushing? What are the issues behind the agitations, quote and unquote, and what can the state do to mitigate? Some magajis have already intervened. Amutajero has also intervened at a point. So I think it's an ongoing conversation that was just reignited. It's not a new thing to say there's a conversation around making peace with people in the community. What are the issues?
As the state government identified the people it wants to grant amnesty to?
Well, it's a continuous conversation, like I tell you. If the fact or if the story just came out, it does not mean that everything is completed. As to that, is an ongoing process which the state security people will advise as to which step to do. You know, they have some people on their high top of their wanted lists, maybe committed serious crimes and all that. And also, you don't, the state will not just hands up and say, oh, don't pamper them and all that, leave so and so. No, the state security people will do their job as far as this issue of amnesty discussion and all that is concerned, and it will take its course.
Because I had wanted to ask what number the state government is looking at.
Well, we don't have the number yet.
Okay, there are reactions here, there are questions here, which I'm sure the people want you. I pray you'll be able to attend to all of these within the limited time that we have left on the program. Shidak01 on Twitter says, good morning. Let government do the needful. Masses are suffering. Let us fight one thing, that is restructuring of this country. I'm presently at Bovesewo Road. I've been there since 7:30 a.m. May God give us help. Okay, thank you so much. Please, what is the state of our Fashade Badeku Jago Road? Thank you. Jide Kende sent that message. Good morning. Okay, and well done. Please, do you remember you read it as headline from a newspaper on Rise and Shine yesterday that a governor in one of the eastern states set up a task force that controls the pump price at official rate and warn petrol dealers against hike price? Please ask your guest if that state government is also blind in petroleum affairs. Please advise your guest to reduce the government of propaganda's deceit and lies to the barest minimum. Oladeji Moshood from Akele send that message. Good morning, Mr. Anu and the CPS. It is pertinent to note that good governance is not a rocket science and that true governance arises from the need to bridge the trust gap between the leaders and the citizens. GSM is one of the greatest leaders indeed that the state has ever produced, who has remarkably made outstanding contributions in the transformation of the state. Aderonke, Governor Makinde has been doing great. Keep it up. Don't be distracted. Okay, what's your name? Sam from Akwete. Your government has written 3 budgets worth 700 billion naira. Please, how did you spend this huge money and the people of your state still wallow in poverty? Okay, Kolawole Kazim asks that question. For Nigeria to get it right, we need more technocrats like Governor Sheyi Makinde at the seat of power, people who understand the terrain of this country better. If past administrations in Oyo State have been active by now, Oyo State will be an El Dorado. Keep the flag flying. Governor Sheyi Makinde Ayodele from Alakia. Federal government failed in construction of federal roads in the state. Why did the state government intervene and won't intervene on fuel? But how did CPS knew the debt profile of previous government but don't know that of his government? Mr. Matomi sent that message. Kudos to government of Oyo State for Ajia Road that affect Adigbai and Alakia positively, sir. When old Ife Road was down to Adigbai, when will it be completed? Then we need buses from Megbeda to Iwo Road. Oyedele Stephen, okay, send that message. The increment of Oyo State government IGR is the money they are collecting by force from the downtrodden people. E.g., the VIO now stay on the road to harass people. Wale from Ojo. Good morning, Mr. Anu and the CPS. Security of lives and property is a bedrock of good governance. I commend our governor for that 615 emergency call. GSM should continue to provide necessary support and encouragement to the security agencies so that it can keep the state safe. Sulaiman Sharif from Honara sent that message. Okay, you want to attend to these ones?
Let me attend to somebody that said that I didn't state the figure, the debt profile of the state, because I don't want to dwell on those figures. Not that I don't know this. I mean, we know each time the state says it wants to borrow so and so, we make the announcement. So the figures are there, but I don't want our conversation to be on the issue of they are borrow so and they are borrow so. Whoever, because I know where the opponents want to divert the conversation to. They have been borrowing money and all that. We are not going to dwell on that one. Let them look at what we have done and let them look at what we are doing with even the money, whatever money that they say we are borrowing, and we say we are going to borrow. Let us look at what we have done with it. That's my conversation. So I'm not going to dwell with them on that. I knew the figures by the previous government, so why not this one? I know the figures. I don't. Yeah, it's not my. Tough. Yeah, I don't want to the conversation to just restrict on the issue of.
If you know it, you just want to quote a figure.
On the money, he said our figure. Somebody said that our IGR has been rising because VIO was in the road. They extort money from people. Don't let us criminalize people who are doing their job. If VIO stops you, basic thing to do is for you to attend to them. No VIO can slap you.
They say the complaint that these ones harass them.
Even
that
they
extort them.
You are a citizen of Nigeria. Take it up. Even if you don't want to take it up, if you think that state government will pamper them, there is the federal ombudsman and whatever. There are agencies or there are even NGOs that are not even related to government. If anybody harasses you on top of your being in Nigeria, so take it up with them. Don't say that you are going to pamper that officer, because the officer was not put on the road to go and harass you. The officer was put on the road to ask for your papers. If your papers are complete, you go your way. So it's not about whether we are forcing anybody to pay one tax or the other. And the VIO, I think the VIOs are not even enough in this state. If you go to places like Abuja, if you go to Lagos, their own version of Oitima in Lagos, you know what they do to people. You know what they do to vehicles there. In Abuja, VIOs are probably the orgas there. So they do their job, and people don't complain that they harass them, because once you are commit an infraction, you should be able to face it. Now, somebody talk about restructuring Nigeria. Well, that's the prayer of so many groups in this country. Somebody mentioned Fashawe Badeku Road. I think that should be communicated. That will be communicated to the Commissioner for Works. He's talked about so many roads. I have a lot of roads that they have done, over 400 kilometers of roads, 400 kilometers of roads ongoing or completed.
Across the state?
Across the states as we speak. I wouldn't know exactly Fasha where the state of it. The commissioner can give us exactly how it is, because just last week we went on inspection of Ajia Road. I think somebody mentioned Ajia Road and said, when will it be completed? It will soon be completed, I can assure you that. But some people raised an issue as to whether some portions of that road...
And they asked the governor not to commission it without inspecting. The commissioner
for works, with a crew of media, some media people, went on that road, toured from kilometer 1 to the end of it and all that. And they saw the areas being complained about. And those are areas that have already been redesigned. So, you know, when the work is ongoing, you won't know what the contractor is doing. You just see that, oh, this area is bad. What you can see is the badness of that area. You won't know the corrections that until the correction comes up. So the contractor is already building up those things that they will use to correct that area, the fault of that area before the people even came up with it. It's something that has already, and the road has not been handed over to the state government, mind you. So whatever fault that is on that road, the contractor has taken it up that he will correct it. But those things that they mentioned, the portions that they talk about, the contractor has already notified them. Noticed them far way back 2021, and they are already being worked and they are already being addressed. So don't criminalize our VIO. Don't tell them that they should not be on the road. They can be on the road, but don't let them harass you. If they harass you, you take it up with them, or you take it up with any of the agencies of government.
Let's pick some calls. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you.
My name is Bayo. I'm calling from Malaysia.
Bayo, welcome.
Hello.
Bayo, go ahead.
Can you hear me, please?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello.
Go ahead, Bayo.
Hello.
Hello, Bayo. You are on. Okay. Bayo, we could hear you clearly. Just go ahead and make your submission. Now that Oyo State government, okay, I guess Bayo is back. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning, Bayo. Hello, you are on.
How are you?
I am fine. Hello. Hello. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. Now that Oyo State government, okay, the call is here. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. All right. You said oh, sorry. We lost it. Sorry about that. Now that Oyo State government cannot do anything on the ongoing fuel scarcity of fuel in Oyo State, even when various filling stations have fuel, but they are silent, but selling at high price. I thought the governor can do anything. Anyway, let's enjoy these, okay, till this scarcity till it lasts. Okay, Tijani Razak send that message on the program.
I think we need to correct Tijani's impression to say, oh, the government cannot do anything.
Let's pick this call.
Okay.
Hello, good morning.
This is Bayo calling from.
Okay, Bayo, welcome.
Okay, so let me appreciate the governor is doing fine. But I want to use this medium to thank the spokesperson of the governor back to the governor. That as much as the governor is trying to make sure things work well, Ibadan is beautiful and do a lot of projects, the government will still need to enforce something. When they did some projects in the world of death, barricade traders, the transport drivers and go away, it was beautiful. They go and look at the place now. Everywhere has been occupied by the road traders again, even at Baborilu. So it's just like the governor is just wasting resources if these people are not enforced. Another thing I would also want the governor to also understand is that the transport people, the PMS, the drivers and co, they are out of control. Nobody is controlling them again. They just do anyhow. They behave anyhow on the road, or the park, bus stops and co. I could remember when the former commissioner for works, maybe Professor Afoja was there. He used to caution them. He made sure that they wear uniforms designed for them. And he even wanted, I watched the video where he warned them that they should not wear t-shirts that has a picture of the governor and Mr. Auxiliary, a picture, cloth. And they complied. The things have changed now. They are out of control. And the governor really needs to look into this. We love him. He's doing well. But if he does not take care of these things, his work will just be nonsense at the end of the day.
All right. Someone has been, Mr. Disa, just this last one. Someone has been waiting. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Okay. Oh, okay.
You want to comment the government for money. We are feeling he made mention of the borrowing. We are feeling the effects of the borrowing positively. It is what borrow and it is another thing to use it for what you are borrowed it for. We could see that the United government is seeing it on what it is meant. Now, I want to say this one on the harassment of the VIO. It is obvious that these VIO, they are harassing people. Even go to academics, you will see them embarrassing the cyclists. Unexpected. It is not expected of them at all. With several countries, they are doing this. And at the same time, the way the marketers are displaying their items on the road is uncalled. Something be done on that on time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, Mr. Ogenka Joseph.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Joseph. Well, he's talking about the VIOs again, that they harass people and all that. My word will still be that, yes, you are a citizen of Nigeria, not the police, not the military, not any uniform person can harass you, should harass you. If they do, you take it up. So don't don't relinquish your right to say, oh, because there are a lot of ways by which you can bust that kind of crime, quote and unquote, now, if it's happening. So the citizens being attacked, so to say, it should be the one to take it up. They have a lot of avenues to report to. So the VIO is on the road. It's not the boss of himself. The government is the boss of that VIO. So report to the government, report to agencies that can take it up practically. Now, somebody was saying that, oh, maybe we can't do anything to the fuel scarcity, or we can just enjoy it as it is. No, that was not the intention of what I've said here. But I mentioned the issue of credible intelligence. Now, there is a task force by the state government already operating. If you pass by the office of excellency going to the government house, you see an office of a task force. The task force can be deployed to any area.
Environmental task force.
Yeah, but it's already existing. It has a retired police officer as his boss, so it can be deployed on any assignment. But then you need credible information. That's why I told you that, well, the state government is not in the at the depot where this fuel is shared. But if people come up with credible information to the government that so and so and so filling stations have fuel, and we can verify that, the state government will know what to do about that. So it's not about that the government is handicapped in doing anything at all, because whatever you are doing, as far as you are operating within Oyo State, you still fall within the law of Oyo State and within the law of the Constitution of Nigeria. So it's not that the government is handicapped, but then people have to be vigilant and come up with not just Oda Bianipe. They should come up with this is the fact, and then let the state government environmental task force take it up.
I'm sorry, I may not be able to pick more calls, because once we pick calls and it's a question, Mr. Taiwo Adisa will want to respond to it. Okay, let's try this.
Well, before you go, okay. So somebody was saying that we have our budget. He calculated our budget that in the last 3 years to be 700 billion, and what have we done with it?
What the government has presented.
What the government has done with it? Well, I just before you mentioned this question, I told you that we are doing over 400 kilometers of road as we speak. A number of them have been completed. If you want the statistics, we can give you. The ones completed, the percentages, the one on 50%, the one on 60, the one on 70, the one on 80, the one on 85%, you get all them. So we are actually working on construction and reconstruction of over 400 kilometers of road right now. Already more than many of them have been completed. Some of them are 50%, 60%. And different percentages, just like that.
We can go on and on.
You also know that we are doing the light up project, over 200 kilometers of road being lit up in Nigeria, in Oyo State. We've done the dump site that was in our water. We turn it around, and it's already working and taking care of refuse within Oyo State. We're doing the second one, the Ajakanga one, is also being reconstructed. We're doing a lot on the basis of infrastructure. You cannot fault this government. That is why somebody said we are seeing what they are doing with the money. So it's not for us to even come here and to start gloating about it. It's for the people. It's what the people are seeing. In terms of infrastructure, you cannot fault this government.
Okay.
No government can do everything, but I can tell you, in terms of infrastructure, you cannot fault this government.
All right, Mr. Taiwo Adisa, thank you so much. There are many questions here. Of course, time will not permit us to answer these questions. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time on the program today.
Thank you, and let our people continue to call 615. That's the number to call when there's any issue. It is not for you to start rushing to Facebook or to start rushing to Twitter. When you see any incident, please call 615.
All right, thank you so much, everyone who's been part of the program. To those whose calls, whose text messages could not be taken, sincere apologies. And to everyone that worked with me in the studio, engineer, and of course our social media personnel, thank you so much. Taiwo is here, and of course many of them are here. Thank you so much, everyone. Engineer Alpha is also here. Buki is here. Many of them blessing. Thank you so much, everyone.